Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Barbalet, and today, the Model Rail Radio theme. A number of people have contacted me independently and asked me where I got the Model Rail Radio theme from. And as I've recorded previously, writing podcast music is something that I take quite seriously. The Model Rail Radio theme was created based on a rhythm, and oftentimes when I compose music I have a rhythm in mind, and with Model Rail Radio it was very much associated with a rhythm. What I wanted was the various kind of aspects of a train moving, a kind of clickety-clack elements, but also the underlying sound of power. And you get this sound, you get this kind of bass-full sound when a train moves past. And I wanted to capture that in the theme music as well. So there was an interesting interpolation between melody that doesn't really exist explicitly and these kind of rhythmic elements. In addition to this, the instruments that you choose when you write a piece of music like this are important. And because this was coming out as a podcast, I wanted a strong electronic, resonant, almost like irritating sound. But I also wanted more traditional musical elements, so a piano here, and similarly also kind of electronic bassful elements that were less irritating than the initial kind of clickety-clack. But to divide the music up initially, the first aspect is the rhythm, which ultimately also provides the main tune element for the theme, but is very much kind of rhythmic and getting people into that kind of rhythmic orientation. I think this was initially composed using the electronic instrumentation that was used initially to give a kind of almost like a modem dial-up sound, but very much with an underlying rhythm where the cadence was drawn from the instrument that was used. The arpeggio element in Model Rail Radio was thematic of trying to tie the two other elements together, and it was a partial kind of arpeggio element. It had some slightly thematic elements to it, but it was designed really to glue together these two rhythmic parts. On one side, the high-pitched treble elements that were very much associated with the kind of clickety-clack of the cars, and then the strong kind of bassful element. So this is probably the more kind of musical part of the theme. The final piece that I wanted to add to the Model Rail Radio theme, and I think it was done in this order, was the bass. And here again, I tuned it very much for the instrument that I picked. I had a sense of what I wanted through this bass instrument, but I tuned it very much associated with the resonance of the bass and how it would reverberate with the other parts. Now, you take these thematic elements and you put them all together, and I think when I composed this, I used the instrumentation in a layered fashion. So I started off with the kind of treble rhythmic elements, I put in the arpeggios, and then I added the bass to get everything kind of working together. And what you end up with is the Model Rail Radio theme. So that gives some insight associated with my composing process, in particular associated with these relatively short bits of music. I took elements from the theme and used it in what I guess I'd call, not necessarily interstitial, but at least section dividers through the podcast. And I've gotten a lot of positive feedback about the Model Rail Radio theme. It's very interesting to take elements in electronic dance music and make it into a kind of more popular form. And certainly there was strong elements from electronic dance music that came from my background working as a DJ and what have you. Some of those things I used satirically, but they all came together in the Model Rail Radio theme, and I think it's held the test of time. Tom Barbalet in San Jose, signing out.